Today I want to talk about 2022 running back commit Jaydon Blue and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about 2022 four-star running back Jaydon Blue, who has announced his commitment to the University of Texas. This is the highest rated commit to the University of Texas in the 2022 cycle, joining Armani Winfield and Jaden Gilblow. Now, I love this for Texas because my man, Jay Blue of the Klein Hurricanes, man, is that not a name? Rushed for over 2,000 yards as a junior and helps you fill out a running back depth chart that looked like it was getting a little bit depleted. Keontae Ingram decides that he wants to transfer to USC, along with others that are leaving Texas, like Xavier Alford to USC, and of course, Jaquindon Jackson to Utah. And there was a void there, and Steve Sarkisian needed to go and fill up the room in a big way. Stan Drayton also doing a tremendous job in the recruitment of one of the top tailbacks, top prospects in the state of Texas. Believe that according to the 247 2022 composite rankings, Jaydon Blue is the fourth best tailback in the country and really a top 60 recruit. Means that he's got an opportunity to finish as a five-star talent. He also has sub 11 second 100 meter speed, last laser timed at 10.97. He's a 10-foot broad jumper. I think he fits into what you want to do, catch the ball out of the backfield. Tremendous in space and, of course, straight line speed. We're going to ask questions about his route running. We're going to ask questions about his pass protection. And we're also going to look at those things as it relates to his size because, well, he ain't that big a dude. But did I expect a guy with these kinds of stats to be that big a dude? No. If he was this big, we'd be talking about him as the best player in the country. But he is 5'11", 205, which is not small by any measure, right? And I thought what Gabe Brooks over 247 had to say about him fits right into how we want to talk about our tailbacks in the modern era, our being, what we expect a modern tailback to look like in 2021, not our as in, Texas fans already popping up over here. This is also in response to Texas fans asking for more Texas content on the channel, which is wild considering how this channel got started and what Texas fans had to say about me. That said, I'm the dude that wants to sit over here and talk about Northwestern from time to time. I'm the dude that wants to sit over here and talk about Jackson State from time to time. Add in here that Jaydon Blue ran a 22.5 second 200 meter dash, which is a very fast girl, which is not shade. But, if you run 22.5 as a woman, you're probably going to make the Olympic trials at the very least. 22.5 in high school, you could probably drop to 21 sub, right? And if you get into the 20 point, you're one of the fastest people in the entire world, let alone in the entire country, let alone Texas, right? The other thing that I thought was interesting about him is that his wingspan is much larger than he is. So it's 6'3" wingspan on a 5'11" and a half, call it 6 feet body, means that he's going to be able to catch a ball in space. Again, strong for a tailback, strong for a guy in the Steve Sarkisian offense. What I'm calling Steve Sarkisian offense, you take a look at what they did at Alabama with Najee Harris, with Devontae Smith, with Jalen Waddle when he was healthy, with John Mechie in the slot. You get an offensive line to go along with that, you ought to be good. And as all things Texas, you're going to get the dudes you're supposed to get. It's about, can you develop them? One of the other things I thought was interesting about this is that it could help you with your 22 recruiting when it comes to landing the quarterback that you want, right? Quinn Ewers was committed to Tom Herman in Texas before flipping to Ohio State. Looks like he's going to be staying at Ohio State with his commitment, and I expect that to be true. That means that if you are Steve Sarkisian, you're taking a look at guys like Cade Klubnik, who beat Quinn Ewers and the South Lake Carroll Dragons in the state championship game and really put on a display. Like, he was the best player on the field in their state championship game against South Lake Carroll coming out of Austin Westlake. And we know what kind of QB tradition, QB heritage has come out of both of those places, not to say anything of the coaches, the Dodges, who've just been out there being Texas high school football royalty for the better part of 15 years. Of course, Riley Dodge won the 2006 Max Preps Player of the Year award, and his father is, one of the best to ever do it in Texas high school football coaching. The other thing about Jaydon Blue coming out of Klein Kane that I thought was important is it gives you more opportunities to use that dude in places that you might view as unconditional and create matchups. It's what I love about Jake Smith. It's what I love about Jordan Whittington. It's what I like about Bijan Robinson. If you want to line those guys up in the slot and just play them as slot players, you could. If you want to make them a every down tailback like Bijan Robinson, you can do that too. I think just because Bijan came out as a tailback and just because he was doing, 17.1 yards per carry does not mean that the man can't line up in the slot and DeMarco Murray some stuff. I think of that dude the way that many people thought of Cedric Benson, the way that many people thought of Ricky Williams, but I'm not going to put it past him. They could catch 40 balls a year if that's what you wanted. Jaydon Blue also adds that sort of versatility to what you're trying to do. Now you need to start recruiting defensively if you're Texas. But it also goes to a point that my buddy Zach Poff made, which is that there are a lot of people that were banging on Texas for how they finished the cycle, especially after firing Tom Herman. And yet Steve Sarkisian, he gets announced as the hire. Armani Winfield decides, I'm going to drop. I'm going to tell everybody I'm going to Texas. And it feels like if you can keep all these dudes that say they want to go to Texas, high 4 stars, low 5 stars, if there is such a thing, you're going to be good, right? Now can you fill it out with offensive linemen? Can you fill it out with defensive linemen? You can't lose guys like the Brockermeyer twins to Alabama anymore. You can't lose Jalen Milroe to Alabama anymore. You can't lose Kendrick Blackshear to Alabama anymore. You got to close on guys like Tumise Adeleye, who was never really looking at Texas. You got to change that if you're Steve Sarkisian. And you got to make it clear that kids that grow up in Texas do want to play at Texas and that you need to put out a product at the program that invites that level of athlete. Till then, 4 and 5 star players are coming to Texas out of their good graces because Texas ain't won no Big 12 championship in, over a decade. And Texas ain't been in no college football playoff since its inception. Steve Sarkisian ostensibly brought in to change that. I think landing guys like Jaydon Blue is going to help you do that. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.